to Skipper Sandra. I'm your skipper, Sandra. I hope you're having a great summer. I don't know where everybody's at, but if you're in Oregon, we had, I think, 3 days of summer, and then it kind of went away for a day or two, and now we have summer again. It just, hasn't made up its mind. It really hasn't. It's just gone schizo banana wackies. So roses are red and yarn is fun. Yeah, we're going to be talking about yarn. Not that we don't talk about yarn, but we're really going to be talking about fiber, because fascinating stuff. And guys, I didn't realize how deep this gets. Like really how deep this gets and how intertwining, and so much information that I need to get for you. So this is not going to be, this little portion is going to be very different from other stuff, because it's not going to be the quick, fast, and a hurry type thing. Now Figgy wants to leave the room, and tough patooties, you were laying up there. Deal with it, cat. I swear. All right, but before we do that, let's get into some other stuff that's gone on. So guess what arrived? My June box. Yes, it did. And I'm very excited to open. I've already opened it. Of course I did. But I'm going to open it for you guys. The unboxing. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, as usual, super cute paper inside. I love that paper. It's so much fun. And again, as always, we have the pattern. She always sends 2 patterns. And this is the Vicky, the Yarnier, Vicky Howe. Love it. Remember the crochet hooks that I have? Those are going to be taking with me. Oh yeah, we got to talk about trips anyway. So we've got this matte planner thing. So there's the that's the knit one, and here, so that's the knit. So you can see the knit version, and here is the crochet version. So better look of that right there. Lovely little book. Got 2 of them, and here's the yarn for it. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? Look at that color. Love it. I'll be honest, not sure I'm gonna make the mat. This is too cute to pass up. Not sure what I'm gonna make it with it, but let's see. This is hand dyed in Texas. Chicken coop. How fun! Chicken coop. Okay, and it's Miss Prissy. It's a fingerling. It's 50% merino, 50% silk. Oh, and the color is prom dress. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And just adorable. Okay, so that's the yarn. And I also got a little spray bottle from Yarnier, which is great when you're blocking. I really appreciate that. And then, of course, a little bag. Not of course, but, well, this is one of hers. Check that out. And it all matches, of course. How pretty is that bag? I love it. Hey, now the cat's trying to play with the cord. I can't. I swear. Okay, so that's really cute and fun. Love it. Super pinky. A lot of fun. All right, now the other thing I wanted to share with you guys today is a project that I finished. I actually finished it for my niece's wedding and then didn't wear it. Didn't realize that the color was really off. I love the color. It's not that there's anything wrong with the color. It's just that the color is off for the dress that I wore. I was wearing a much darker blue. So you guys know how I have to combine my nails. Oh, there's a string. So I made this vest. Oh, and it flies right on top of me. Okay, so I made this vest, and I really like it. The funny thing is that this is not the way that it was designed to be worn. This was designed to be worn so that it forms this V here. See that? How it forms like a V down here? And this is collared. I'll be honest, I never got it really to do it right. I really like it this way. And it was really funny when I tried it on. I said, okay, I went and showed it to my husband and to Monty, and I'm like, okay, so which way do you like it? I can wear it this way. And they had the V, and the V is right over your back. Here's the pattern. I will list this in the, what do you call it? In the description afterwards. I'll list all the patterns and everything. But this is the split back carding, and look how cute that is. Super cute, right? But I never figured out how to really get that right. It was much lower for me. I had way too much fabric up here, and it really framed my butt. So my husband's like, look, don't get, and I showed him both ways. And he goes, Don't get mad at me. I'm like, that's it. When I ask your opinion, I don't get mad. And he's like, I like the other way better. And I'm like, what is that? He goes, because it just falls right on your butt and it framed your butt and it made you look like I have a big butt. So I had to dance around the house singing It's All About the Bass and swinging my butt everywhere. So he just thought that was hysterical. We had a really good laugh about that. But this yarn isn't, but this yarn is just, it's so soft. I'm in love with it. And this is the yarn base. And you know, I put everything in Ziploc baggies so it keeps it clean and not tangled with other yarns, so I can store it and travel with it. But this is Art Yarns Ensemble Light. It's 50% silk, 50% cashmere, and I still have more left over. I didn't even use all of what I had. I had 1, 2, I have 3, and I keep all the labels so that way I know how much I used. So I used a hank and maybe a half that I had. So this was how many yards? It was 400 yards per hank. So I used maybe 600 yards. That's pretty good because I'm not a little girl. So, and it hangs beautifully. It's beautiful. It's so soft. It is so soft. And just look at those colors. It just reminds me of, you know, water, like tide pool. I love it. So, and I used, so that you know, I used one of the Furls hooks, and it's a size K, which is the 6.5. And it was great. I loved it. It was really wonderful. I'll tell you what, when my hand gets tired, I have other hooks. You know how I like my wood hooks. But when my hand gets tired or my arm gets tired, and I switched over to Furls, and Furls are fabulous. There are other hooks I've discovered, guys. I'm not joking. Wow. And I will be getting one, and when I get one, I will be letting you know. So that is the unboxing, and that is the latest thing that came off of my hook. Really had a great time. If I could, and I think I'm going to reach out to her. I believe it's a her. Please don't. Lee Satori. Coco Crochet Lee. I believe it's a her. I am going to reach out to her and find out why mine didn't come out with this beautiful. It's not cute. I just love it. So I'm not really sure what I did wrong. I want to know because I really would like to make it again. And I might even make it out of the same yarn because I'll be honest with you. I love the yarn. I love that other version that came out. So I'll use both of them. I don't see a problem with that. So we'll see. Did you guys follow the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing? Because I did. I was in court. I found it maybe 3.5 weeks into it. And yeah, every chance I had, I was in court. Like my husband was showing up and I'm like, I'm in court. So just, and the reason I say that is because in that vein, I got the sticker run. I thought you said rum. And this is absolutely true. This is the running gag in my house before anything happened. And I'm the reason the rum is always gone. I am. I love my rum. And I love my orcas. I just, you know, crochet mama. Oh, and law nerd. So I am a law nerd, Emily D. Baker. If you guys like pop culture, you know, law, she's amazing. I love it. I love law. I've always loved law. I think it's fascinating. I've never really watched a court proceedings, and this was really fascinating to see how it all worked. I'll be honest with you. I came into it with a very open mind, hoping it wasn't true, but you know, things happen, and I know things can happen in any situation, and I'm not going to give opinions, but I thought the whole law side of it was fascinating. I didn't even know there's a genre of creators out there that do nothing but commentary and explain how the law works. So Emily D. Baker, fabulous, love her. I will put a link to her YouTube channel. She's all over the social media things. She does Instagram, she does it all. But she is fabulous. She was great about explaining the whys. You know, why is this hearsay? Why is that not admissible? Why is it admissible? What's the attorney doing? What? I had a lot of questions. And I honestly need a sticker that says, I have questions, because I had so many questions. It was so great to learn. And then to actually find other creators other attorneys that do other kinds of cases. So I really thought that was fascinating. So I'm going to be following more, what do you call it? Law creators, law commentary creators, because that was really a lot of fun. And I love law. I really kind of am a law nerd, as she calls them, law nerds. And it was a safe place, very respectful. I enjoyed that too. So we could have a discussion. We could disagree. We didn't have to agree. We could disagree, but it was respectful of each other. And I really appreciated that. You can't have a conversation if you can't be respectful. But of course, save our oceans. And that is really the biggest theme of today, is the save our oceans, other than, rum and yarn. But it involves yarn and involves saving our oceans. And let's talk about that. Let's get into that next. Roses are red. So remember, it's probably a few videos back, I was talking about all this fiber that I got, and it's all natural plant fiber. This is the rose top. So I told you I was going to be doing, and I didn't realize it was going to be this involved. One of my biggest curiosities about these natural fibers is how eco is it, right? Because we're talking about natural fibers. Well, this is supposedly made from the stems, the rose bush, not necessarily the petals themselves, but the rose bush. It is super silky. And I had a friend actually ask, are you going to spin it? I will. I'm not sure if I'm going to drop spin or wheel spin, but it's very, very silky. I've never spun with something this silky, so it's going to be an interesting thing. It's very silky. It looks like it has a little bit of a halo. I don't know if you can see that. See that halo? Look how creamy that is. And it's beautiful. And I'm thinking, this is fabulous, right? I'll put a link. You can get some of this yourself. These are samples. This is the rose top. And it was developed here in the United States, which I thought was also great. And I'm thinking, okay, it's natural, so it's fabulous. And it's billed as that it's silky and it's strong. I just told you that. It's biodegradable. I thought that was interesting. It's harvested from the actual stalks or the plant itself. And it feels a lot like bamboo. Only I think, okay, so the cat's not going to stop, and the cat's on the inside of the room, meowing, wanting to get out. The dog's on the outside of the door, wanting to get in. So I better let one in or the other one out, because otherwise they're going to just keep scratching. Hold on. I can't believe this, you guys. In or out? Come on. Okay. All right. There we go. They actually traded spots. All right, Foos, you got to move, Boo. Okay, thank you, Boo. So now the dog's on the inside and the cat's on the outside. We'll see how long that lasts. All right, anyway, so they're saying that it feels like bamboo. I'd have to confirm that. I have some bamboo like this, and then I have bamboo yarn. We'll see how that works out. Haven't really tested that one. Of course, they're saying it's green, it's eco-friendly, and it's very absorbent for dyes. So it's a really great dyeing one. Okay, but here's the thing. When it comes to this, you have to process it. What's the process? And that's where my concern with the eco problem comes in. We can say that it's natural, of course, because it comes from the stalks. Come to find out, not really. This is really interesting. So what this is viscose. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but viscose fabric has been created since 1905. I thought that was fascinating. If you would ask me, I would say, oh, it's probably the 1950s, that viscose, because viscose is kind of slimy, goopy. But it's also a material, and it comes from plants. It really does come from plants. But the problem with it is that it's still man-made. Now, this is what they call a closed circuit, so or a closed loop. So it starts as can you hear that? That's the cat. Now complaining because he's on the outside of the door. Okay, we're going to have to, because otherwise they're going to, oh my gosh, I can't believe these guys. All right, are you coming in? Come on. You can't just stand there. Thank you. Oh my gosh. All right. So both of them are now on the inside of the door. let's hope we can get through with this. Okay. So generally, bamboo and cotton pulp get ground. So this is what viscous is, okay? The viscous solution. It's bamboo and cotton that gets ground up, and it gets mixed with this caustic soda. So I read that, and I'm thinking, caustic soda. We're talking chemicals again. There is some wait time so that the mush can age. It has to age. And then depolymerizing happens to ripen the pulp. I thought that was kind of funny. The carbon disulfide is added to the mix. Again, we're talking a chemical product. It's added to the mix. This helps form the cellulose exate. The cellulose xanthate is a yellowish crumble that shows up on the surface. Manufacturers use a caustic soda to dissolve that. And the solution is viscous. And it's what forms this. And it means that it's to ooze instead of flow. Okay, so that mush turns into this viscous. It took on that name. And now the virgin viscous goes into a spinneret. It spins it, and it spins it into a sulfuric acid bath. This is what generates the fine cellulose filaments. This happens during the xanthate decomposition, and the raw material is then purified to get the filament or the fabric. So it then gets spun, or it gets carted into this so that it can get spun. Now that first chemical, the caustic soda, that could be troublesome because it changes the pH effect, and it can be toxic to underwater organisms. So here we go. I'm like, okay, great. So the one thing that we're trying to do is save our oceans, save our planet, right? And let's be all eco. But how are we being eco if we're already adding these chemicals? And the most dangerous part is that carbon bisphylate. It's extremely toxic to people and the environment unless it's handled properly. Okay, so who's controlling that? And these are the questions that I had. The good thing is that most of the technology and the production standards here in the US, and keep that in mind as we go through this, here in the US allow for better carbon bisphylate management. So now how that's done is the chemicals are captured at the end of the production and then reused for the next batch. So that was really cool. So if you're going to use chemicals, at least don't just disseminate them somewhere or bury them somewhere and they just sit there inert, or they're not inert, they're active, but they're sitting there in batches. And then what? Okay, I didn't think this was a good idea, but not in this case. And that's that whole closed loop thing, right? It starts and ends and it just keeps going. So that's what's happening with these chemicals. And I thought that was really great. There are legislators that are keep pushing for not necessarily stricter, but more responsible ways of using this stuff. So as long as it doesn't get into our waterways, we keep that closed circuit, we're going to be good. And the manufacturing people are getting into it. So this is what I mean when in being responsible. We all have to do it, right? Us as fiber artists and the manufacturers and the people that create these chemicals, as long as, and again, it's many, many hands. So when we talk about creating the yarn or the fiber so that we can make yarn, we're almost the end user, because what we make is then made and given to somebody else. So then there's the end user there. The beginning is the rose plant, but is it still the rose plant? And that's where I had a lot of questions, because up until now, I haven't heard anything about the rose plant. I've heard about this viscous material. I've heard about the bamboo and cotton, but I hadn't heard, as I was reading or read, any more about the rose plant. What did concern me is that more than 60% of the market of the viscous production is done in China. That was the cat. Sorry, guys. It's done in China. They do not have the strict rules that we have. So their process is messier. It gets into our water, in general waterways, the ocean, more than ours does here in the United States. So again, when you see made in the United States, there's a difference. Made in the USA. And one of the biggest differences is that the responsibility that we have. Not to say that other countries don't, because there's a lot of other countries who are putting pressure on China to be more responsible so that our environment isn't damaged. But again, they've already proven with a lot of what's going on over there. And if you don't know, it's still human rights problems are going crazy over there. So this is a concern that we all have, and I'm glad to hear that the manufacturers here in the United States, but also abroad, are all getting in on it and saying, hey, we need to stop this. 60% of the market production coming from there is a problem. So we need to support more businesses that are being responsible, especially those here in the US that are taking that higher level of care for our environment. And I'm not doing this as this big ego push. I'm doing this for responsibility. I happen to, you guys know this, I love my oceans, okay? And I want to keep them safe. Now the cellulose is the fiber that makes up the walls of the plant. In reading all of this, I was really upset because it turns out that it's not really from the rose plants. First off, to make it takes many rose bushes. There's nobody that they've been able to come across. I've looked up a couple of different places, and I'll actually put the links to some of the places that I got some of this information. There's 2 patents that I looked at, and one of them I have to say, so it specifically says that it's not roses. It doesn't come from roses. So that really kind of upset me. Again, it gives the names of the Chinese companies. I was really fascinated to find that. Here's the thing, and this is a quote from a patent. This is an European one. And I quote, it says, in particular, the protein, because they need a protein, it's the cellulose, the protein is rice protein. It's not rose. So it says it. Now, there are some manufacturers, there's some yarn manufacturers out there, when they say, hey, this is rose yarn, and it'll have a pink hue. What they're doing is they're taking the rose flower itself, dehydrating it, converting it into grinding it up into a powder, and then adding it back in. And they add it back in during the viscose solution process prior to spinning it. So they add that color back in. Again, in a manner of speaking, it's kind of closed loop. I'm sorry, I keep looking over because the cat has found a ball of yarn. Not that that's a surprise. We're in my yarn room. But yeah, he found a ball of yarn and he was playing with it. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. The other interesting thing is that they were one of the patents was for a fabric, not a fiber. A fabric that uses rose yarn, right? Rose fiber yarn, but it's to make a fabric, and that it's UV protective. It's really kind of fascinating what that was. So I'll put the links to the patents. One was in England and one's here in the United States. Not England, correction, in Europe. But again, it's fascinating to see what these do. So again, is this healthy or not? Well, the jury's out, right? First off, you see rose top, it's not really made out of rose. That's the sad part. How eco-friendly is it? Well, if they're doing it the right way, right? Doing that closed circuit loop, then it's very eco, and we're actually helping because we're reusing everything that needs to be done. But it's not really rose. So that was very disappointing. So what I'm going to do, because this was just a little bit, not a whole lot, because I thought it was going to be really easy. Since when does anything I do be easy? It just seems, well, that's not true, because that vest was really easy. I did it in a day. Honestly, I did it in a day. I actually did it twice in a day because I had it 99% done. All I had to do was seam it, and I ended the whole thing and redid it again because I didn't like the way that came out the first time. The second time it came out a little better, but still not the way I wanted it to come out. But I still made 2 in one day. So that goes to show how easy that pattern is. And I'll tell you, if it weren't for that one detail of how to seam it so that it creates that V in the back. Sorry, I had to go back there. So yeah, rose top, not made from roses or rose bushes. Very disappointing. So now I've got many more, and we're going to be talking about them, but I'm going to give myself some more time to research it so that when I actually present these things to you or come to you about it, we're going to be able to talk about it. real quick, next topic is CGOA's chain link. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Guess who's going to NOLA? Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Yes, I am. And so is hubby. And we're very excited. This is going to be really cool. I've been in close communication with my inductee, Karen Ballard, and I promised you guys I was going to do an interview with her. I still am going to do that. I have to just coordinate that. It's been kind of crazy. It's been not kind of. It's been crazy. But then again, that's life. So we're gonna try to figure that one out and get her on here to interview her. But yeah, that's happening in just weeks now, and I am completely registered. I am going to try to do videos from there prior to the actually leaving. I'm going to be doing some talking about traveling with your crocheting tips and tricks and suggestions. So we'll be talking more about that. I will put in the description the link for CGOA's conference chain link, which is in NOLA, New Orleans. And I'm going to tell you, there's still room. There is still room in the class, in some of the classes. Most of the classes have room in them still. I'm sure you can still get a hotel room and flights, and it's just going to be so amazing. If you do go, shoot me an email. My email is in the description. Shoot me an email and let me know you're coming, and we can coordinate and meet up. I'd love to meet you. This is going to be so much fun, and there's so many other things. I'm not just going to the convention. I'm actually going to be staying. I'll be getting there earlier than the convention and leaving later than the convention or the conference, so that I have a chance to experience some of New Orleans because of the history and everything like that. The other thing too is there's going to be a meet and greet with some not newspapers, but magazines. I'm going to be going to that meet and greet, and I will be bringing information back. So if there's those of you who are designers and pattern writers and you want to get some information, I will be getting that for you, and I will be doing a video on that. I'm going to try to video as much as I can while I'm down there, not just the conference, but also what I do, when we're out and about. I'm just so excited. This is going to be so cool. But this was fascinating, and I'm going to be doing. Don't forget to do all of the YouTubey things, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that bell so that you can be notified the next time I do a video. I do them live on Wednesdays at 6:30. And I'm trying to decide whether I just want to keep doing if I should keep doing the lives, or if I should just record them ahead of time. So you tell me, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to just watch it live or see the rerun of the live so that you can see all of the flukes and shenanigans that happen? Or would you like a more polished and professional video? It's up to you. Oh, and if you've noticed, the blanket is missing because I have a new blanket that's coming that I'm going to be creating. So there's that too. There was a lot. It was a lot. It really was a lot. All right. I hope you guys are having a great evening. Take care of yourselves, and let's see how we can keep making life better for each other and ourselves. Okay. Big hugs. Thank you, everyone. And remember, crochet is just a loop on a hook. We can all do it, and we need to keep it alive. All right, this is Skipper Sandra signing off, saying have a great one. Bye.